it is now being announced that Stefon Diggs not only lost the Super Bowl, he also lost his girl in the same night.
CardiB gave Stefon Diggs everything: her platform, her loyalty, and a child. Then Super Bowl Sunday dismantled it all in a single evening. Did he truly sneak another woman into his hotel room after the loss? And why is Offset claiming victory without ever stepping on the field? This is the full story. Let us break it down. If you could freeze February 8th, 2026, pause the entire day like a recording, and examine what was supposed to unfold, you would see what should have been one of the most monumental nights of Cardi B's life. Her partner, New England Patriots wide receiver Stefon Diggs, was preparing to take the field for Super Bowl LX at Levi Stadium. Cardi had spent the entire season, every grueling, emotionally exhausting week of it, serving as his most vocal supporter, his most visible cheerleader, the devoted partner who showed up to games in freezing temperatures, looking as though she were ready to suit up herself. She was in the stands screaming until her voice gave out. She was across every social media platform championing this man relentlessly. Post by post, game by game, appearance by appearance, she constructed the kind of public love story that had the entire internet drawing comparisons to the only other couple commanding that level of attention across sports and entertainment: Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. And for a moment, that comparison actually held weight. The cameras found her at every game. The media wanted her perspective on everything. Fans consumed their love story as though it were a prestige series dropping new episodes every Sunday.
They wanted to see her at the games. They wanted to know her opinions, They wanted to see her support for him.
But here is the uncomfortable truth about building a relationship in the public eye. The truth nobody wants to confront when they're too busy curating couple photos and writing captions about new beginnings. Eventually, the real story surfaces. And on Super Bowl Sunday, it did not merely surface, it kicked down the front door, overturned the table, and announced itself to the entire world. Before the game even began, before a single snap, before the coin even touched the turf, something was clearly wrong between these two. A reporter approached Cardi during Super Bowl weekend and posed the most straightforward, most routine question imaginable. The kind of question that should have been effortless for someone who had spent months publicly rallying behind her partner. What do you have to say to Stefon before the big game? And instead of the enthusiasm, instead of the energy, instead of the rallying cry that had defined her entire persona for weeks, Cardi simply looked at the reporter, said 2 words, "Good luck," turned around and walked away. She did not look back. That was it. No warmth, no declaration of support, none of it. Just good luck. 2 words that communicated everything by saying virtually nothing. Anyone who has ever been in a relationship understood exactly what that energy signified. She was finished before the game even started. And the internet, as the internet does, caught it immediately. Women across social media began sounding the alarm, analyzing the body language, scrutinizing the facial expressions, dissecting every micro detail like a collective forensic unit specializing in relationship analysis. Something between these two had gone sideways, and it happened before a single second of football was played.
It was not only the good luck, it was her facial expressions, it was her body language.
That kind of shift does not materialize out of thin air, and the reason behind it began making itself painfully obvious as the details emerged. According to multiple reports, one of Diggs' other children's mothers arrived at the Super Bowl with their child, wearing his jersey, seated in the front row as though it were her rightful place. Now, in isolation, that might not seem extraordinary. She is his child's mother, and the child deserves to watch their father play in the biggest game of his career. But what made it deeply disrespectful was the context. This was a woman who reportedly had her baby before Cardi even became pregnant with Diggs' child, which meant this man's overlapping relationships were now literally occupying the same stadium, breathing the same air, cheering for the same person. The disrespect was structural, and it escalated significantly.
Reports began circulating that a woman identified as Pre, allegedly Offset's former romantic interest, was spotted at secured practice grounds carrying what appeared to be a Patriots hotel keycard, suggesting she had direct access to Diggs's inner circle. Consider the layers of disrespect for a moment. Your ex-husband's alleged side relationship is now somehow connected to your current partner. That is the kind of storyline that would be rejected from a reality television pitch for being too implausible, yet it was unfolding in real time. Then the actual game took place, and it was a thorough disaster from start to finish. The Seattle Seahawks defeated the New England Patriots 29-13. It was not close, it was not competitive. It was a comprehensive defeat. Diggs was virtually invisible on the field. A few catches, 0 touchdowns, absolutely nothing that resembled the kind of marquee performance required when the entire world is watching. As for Cardi, she made a brief appearance during Bad Bunny's halftime show, a fleeting moment, roughly 2 seconds of what most observers expected would be a full-scale collaborative performance. But immediately after, Cardi departed the stadium entirely. She did not wait for the fourth quarter. She did not stand by her partner in the tunnel following the loss. She posted nothing encouraging. She simply vanished.
But be there, front row and center too. Hold him and console him whether he lost or he won. The fact that she left speaks.
What made her departure even more striking was what had been planned for afterward. Cardi had reportedly invested $1.2 million in a Super Bowl afterparty, an entire fortune allocated toward a celebration that never materialized. $1.2 million gone, spent on a man and an evening that both proved to be monumental disappointments. Then, just hours after the final whistle, Cardi and Stefon Diggs unfollowed each other on Instagram. A source confirmed to Entertainment Tonight that the two had recently separated, and while the door was not officially closed on reconciliation, every indicator suggested this was far more than a minor disagreement. Then the most explosive allegation of the entire night surfaced. Unverified reports claimed that Diggs was caught sneaking his female best friend into his hotel room barely an hour after losing the Super Bowl. Now, to be transparent, that specific allegation has not been corroborated by anyone with verifiable evidence. No photographs, no video footage, no first-hand sources. But in the court of public opinion, the damage was already irreversible. The verdict had already been rendered. Cardi posted a cryptic message on social media, simply the word "done," and everyone from media outlets to neighborhood conversations understood exactly what it meant.
It is now being announced that Stefon Diggs not only lost the Super Bowl, he also lost his girl in the same night.
She was not merely done with the game, she was done with the man. And the most devastating aspect of it all, she had a newborn with him.
Yeah, right.
Their son was born barely 2 months earlier, on November 4th, 2025.
What is the best play of your career?
That
10
child
seconds
did
starting
not even
10.
learn to roll over, and his parents' entire relationship was already engulfed in
And Ash,
flames.
round down.
But
I love
here
that.
is the
Would
detail
you
that no one could
least
stop discussing.
like to date
Cardi
your
B
sister?
had been here before.
I'm having a baby
she had
with
lived through this
my boyfriend,
exact
Stefon
same
Diggs.
narrative.
Was the
and the
sent
man
from
from
6
that first
a.m. to all the
chapter,
way to 5
he
a.m.
was
What's going through your head as you prepare to take on the gauntlet? Are you nervous at all?
And he had plenty to say.
We can never,
To truly
never,
understand
never not.
why
That's one of
Offset's
the things
response to
everybody
this situation
appreciates and
landed with the
respects
force
and
of a freight train, why it
I think I can
resonated
answer
through
that question,
every
but I wanna hear-
timeline, every
She didn't
group
hit
chat,
me, I
every
didn't hit her.
comment
There
section,
was
and
no
every
touch.
conversation for days. You must first appreciate how deeply, how
New England
painfully, and
Patriots
how
players can't wait for
completely
the
Cardi
newest
B had
member to his
invested in
team.
leaving him
During an
behind.
interview with people,
Because this was not a routine celebrity breakup
Yeah,
followed by a
right.
casual rebound. This was a woman who had extracted herself
I am.
from one
I'm
of the
having a
most
baby with
publicly toxic
my boyfriend,
marriages in
Stefon
hip-hop
Diggs.
history,
Was
rebuilt
from
herself
6 a.m.
piece
to
by
all the way to 5
agonizing
a.m.
piece.
What's going through your head as you prepare to
Eyes
take on the
wide
gauntlet?
open,
Are you
heart
nervous at all?
fully
Are you
exposed, believing she had done the
can
necessary
never,
work,
never
walked
not. That's
directly
one of the
into
things
something that may
everybody
have actually
appreciates
been
and
worse.
respects and
Out of the frying pan,
I
directly
think I
into
can
the
answer
fire.
that question, but I want to
Cardi and Offset's relationship was the kind of messy, dramatic, larger-than-life saga that hip-hop had romanticized for years. The secret wedding behind closed doors in Atlanta in September 2017.
Then I must be the best
extravagant
person you know.
public proposal at a concert weeks later, even though they were already legally married. The birth of their daughter, Culture, in 2018, which convinced everyone they were building a dynasty.
Fourth, the New
But
England
beneath
Patriots
all the
players
glamorous
can't wait for the
exteriors,
newest member to
beneath the
his team.
coordinated
During an
outfits,
interview
the
with
Instagram content, and the collaborative tracks, the foundation was crumbling from the start. Footage of Offset with other women surfaced
what
almost
is the best
immediately
play
after
of
the
your
wedding.
career.
And
10
from that
seconds
point
starting
forward,
10.
the cycle of infidelity, public breakdowns, reconciliation, and further betrayal became the defining characteristic of their entire marriage. It was mechanical, toxic clockwork. Cardi filed for divorce in September 2020, then withdrew the filing. She went on Instagram Live in December 2023 and declared to the world that she was single, unfollowed Offset, and then filed for definitively in July 2024. By that point, she was finished. She had endured enough, and it was not solely the infidelity that broke her.
And he just makes me feel safe and very confident and very strong. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I was literally having a panic attack.
That moment, Cardi speaking publicly about Stefon Diggs revealed something profound. The entire reason she needed that level of emotional safety and reassurance was because of what Offset had done to her spirit. She later disclosed that her marriage had become dangerous, that it had plunged her into the deepest depression, unable to eat, unable to sleep, unable to work. She said she feared the emotional volatility would push her to a place from which she could not return. And so, when Stefon Diggs arrived and offered her those words, the ones she kept repeating in every interview that followed, she believed them.
One time he just told me, let me heal you. Give me a chance for me to heal you. And it's okay.
Cardi opened the door she had spent months sealing shut. She had remained single for 6 months after Offset. 6 full months of solitude, healing away from public scrutiny, relearning what it felt like to exist without constant emotional turmoil. And then she allowed Diggs to enter. By June 2025, they were everywhere on social media. Yacht photographs, captions about fresh starts and new chapters. By September, she was sitting across from Gayle King on CBS Mornings, announcing her pregnancy to the world, radiating the kind of joy that suggested everything had finally aligned. By November, their son was born. Was it fast? Undeniably. Perhaps too fast. But Cardi genuinely believed she had finally found her peace after years of relentless chaos. And that is precisely what made the red flags so devastating when they began accumulating. Diggs was not simply an athlete with a complicated past. This man had fathered at least 6 children with 6 different women, 4 of them born in 2025 alone. Beyond that, he was facing a felony strangulation charge from December 2025, involving an alleged incident with his former chef, charges he denied, describing them as pure fiction, in addition to lawsuits for defamation, alleged assault on an influencer, and a network of personal entanglements so convoluted it made Offset's history look straightforward by comparison.
Absolutely absurd. That's first of all. But second of all, if you believe that just because of her name or her brand, that is going to make a tiger change his stripes.
And that is the element that cut people to their core watching this unfold, because Cardi was aware of all of it. She reportedly drew a firm boundary early in the relationship. She told Diggs directly, if he made a mistake, if another woman came forward with a child after they became official, it would be over. Finished. No second chances. She was attempting to learn from the Offset era. She was attempting to safeguard her peace. But the pattern caught up to her regardless. Now, let us bring Offset back into this. When Cardi first went public with Diggs around April 2025, Offset played it cool. He publicly stated he was happy for her after Coachella footage of the new couple went viral. But that supportive energy had an expiration date, and it expired quickly. By June 2025, Offset posted and subsequently deleted a tweet characterizing Cardi's relationship rollout as good PR, and the public interpreted that as unmistakable shade. By September, when Diggs made his debut playing for the Patriots, Offset responded online with a single word, trash, accompanied by a matching emoji. By December 2025, rumors circulated about an alleged confrontation between Offset and Diggs at a nightclub, claims Cardi denied, but the tension between these two men was clearly escalating toward a breaking point. Then, January 2026 arrived, and Offset made the move that would ultimately appear prophetic. After Diggs was charged with strangulation, which, once more, he firmly denies, Offset posted 2 words on social media that sent shockwaves across every platform. I won. No hashtags, no explanation, no elaboration required. Everyone, and that means everyone who had been following this entangled love triangle, knew precisely who he was addressing, precisely what he meant, and could practically feel the satisfaction emanating from every letter.
I think it's funny to be like, Offset won the Super Bowl, but I truly
That's hilarious.
I truly do believe.
That's hilarious.
And there was something darkly, ironically amusing about it, because Offset did nothing to earn that victory. He did not change, he did not become a better man, he did not elevate his character. He simply sat back and waited. He allowed the new man to self-destruct on his own, and when it happened on the biggest stage in American sports, Offset was right there, metaphorically courtside with the popcorn, ready to gloat. A parody fan account, Arapsis, a self-described Nicki Minaj fan page, captured the internet's collective sentiment in one viral post that accumulated over 6.7 million views. Cardi and Stefon Diggs just unfollowed each other. She had his baby 2 months ago, and he was caught tonight sneaking his girl best friend into his hotel room not even an hour after he lost the Super Bowl. Stefon Strangler Diggs is worse than Offset. The post featured a manipulated clip of Margot Robbie, most likely sourced from The Wolf of Wall Street, AI edited to appear as though she were delivering the commentary in character, tying into Nicki Minaj's Barbie persona. Fan rivalries, celebrity gossip, and deepfake technology all converging in a single viral moment. You genuinely cannot fabricate this kind of cultural collision. And the comparison at the center of that post, worse than Offset, became the question that dominated every timeline, every group chat, every salon, and every comment section for days. Was Diggs genuinely worse? Offset had been unfaithful throughout an entire 7-year marriage, but at least Cardi had history, 3 children and years of shared memories as reasons to attempt reconciliation. With Diggs, the entire enterprise collapsed in under 2 years, with a 2-month-old infant caught in the wreckage. The velocity of the implosion is what made it feel so much more egregious.
Imagine using your social capital for a man who had his court date pushed back so he can make it to the Super Bowl and then lose. It's truly embarrassing.
In the hours and days following Super Bowl Sunday, the internet erupted. It was a full-scale, unfiltered spectacle of reactions, commentary, memes, and merciless analysis from every corner of the culture. Celebrities, sports analysts, hip-hop media figures, podcasters, and hundreds of thousands of everyday observers weighed in from every conceivable angle, and no one exercised restraint. The timeline was ablaze. 50 Cent, because of course it was 50 Cent, went directly to social media to ridicule Stefon Diggs, mocking him for failing both on the field and in his relationship on the same night. Users across platforms were absolutely ruthless. One viral post read, "Not Stefon Diggs losing the game and the girl the same night." Another echoed what many were already thinking. What do you expect from a man who's gotten countless women pregnant in a single year? The humor was relentless and the memes were devastating. But beneath all the ridicule and the screen recordings and the viral posts, a genuine and substantive conversation was taking place. A conversation about patterns, about choices, about what it truly means to repeatedly invest your trust, your body, your future, and your entire heart in someone who clearly does not deserve it.
and whether accountability for that falls upon the person extending trust or the person violating it. One observation resonated with particular force because it was simply undeniably accurate. Diggs's February 13th court date for the strangulation charge had been postponed specifically so he could participate in the Super Bowl. The entire legal system made an accommodation for this man, bent its own procedures to grant him his moment, and he still squandered it. No championship ring, no victory, and now possibly no Cardi either. Loss after loss after loss.
Let me ask the audience. It is embarrassing for someone as talented as you are to be associated with a man who has multiple accusations, charges, lawsuits, and lost the Super Bowl.
The element that made the entire situation sting even more, the detail that had everyone in the comments speaking out, was the social capital equation. Throughout the entire relationship, from the very first public sighting to the very last Instagram unfollow, Cardi was the one doing all of the heavy lifting. She was the one promoting his games. She was the one braving freezing temperatures at every stadium. She was the one who stood beside him and publicly defended him when those strangulation charges surfaced and the entire world was telling her to walk away. She gave and she gave and she gave. And what exactly did she receive in return?
We don't see him hyping you up. Matter of fact, when he was asked about if you were going to get a ring, he joked and said he got to get one.
The exchange that had everyone talking was when Funny Marco asked Diggs about putting a ring on Cardi's finger. And instead of offering something genuine, something heartfelt, the man essentially deflected. He needed to secure his Super Bowl ring first.
10 seconds,
It was lighthearted, certainly, but it was also revealing. Yeah, I wish things could have gone another way, but, you know, the money. Stefon, I have a question.
but
After you get your ring, is Cardi getting her ring?
Thank
Well,
you for-
the
Oh,
Seahawks
yeah, 'cause
ensured
you know
with
what? I do feel
absolute
like I talk to
certainty
you
that
often,
neither
but
ring would be
she didn't hit
forthcoming,
me, I didn't
and
hit
the
her.
internet
There was no
distilled
touch.
the entire situation into one devastating observation. Offset won the Super Bowl without ever putting on a jersey.
Went out the way, but and you know the money, huh?
Stefon, I have a question. After you get your ring, is Cardi getting her ring?
Now, some observers examined this entire situation and directed all blame squarely at Cardi for what they perceived as a self-inflicted error. But that perspective overlooks something essential. The commentators who followed this story from its inception pointed out that this was never truly about one woman making one poor choice. It was about a pattern, a system that continues to extract emotional labor and loyalty from women while providing them with absolutely nothing in return. Not a ring, not respect, not loyalty, not even basic human decency.
And she decides to divorce Offset and leaves Hell. So then her next option was Super Hell, and decided out of all the options to choose from, she chose Stefon Diggs.
And that
England
message, the
Patriots
imperative of releasing these situations and choosing yourself, became the most resonant takeaway from the entire ordeal. Because when you strip away all the noise, all the drama, all the memes, and all the provocative posts, CardiB remains one of the most accomplished female rappers in history. She has a Grammy on her shelf. She has anthems that defined an entire generation. She has 4 children who need their mother present and strong. And she has a Little Miss Drama Tour launching February 11th, literally 48 hours after the breakup news detonated across every platform. Meanwhile, what does Stefon Diggs have on his horizon? He is facing a February 13th arraignment. His NFL career is shrouded in uncertainty. As one commentator noted, the league can tolerate a great deal, but being a losing player with serious criminal charges is a combination that gets you released in short order. When he was asked after the game what comes next, his answer was essentially non-committal. No plan, no certainty, just ambiguity. And Offset? Offset is co-parenting his 3 children with Cardi, watching the man who replaced him collapse on the world's biggest stage like a structure built without a foundation. He acknowledged in a 2025 podcast that his own infidelity and lack of respect were what drove Cardi away in the first place. He accepted responsibility, at least verbally, But his actions following the breakup told an entirely different story. The deleted tweets, the dismissive comments, the triumphant declarations, all of it painted the portrait of a man who may have matured enough to acknowledge fault privately, but remained entirely willing to twist the knife when the cameras were rolling.
Let them go. Y'all are bigger and better without them. Y'all are doing phenomenal things that y'all do not need to be attached to these trash men.
Let me heal you. Those were the words. That was the entire proposition. That is what Stefon Diggs told Cardi B when she was at her most vulnerable, when the wounds from Offset were still raw, when she was trying to remember what it even felt like to trust someone without instinctively bracing for betrayal. And she believed it. She unlocked the door she had spent months reinforcing. She had remained single for 6 months after Offset, 6 full months of solitary reflection, healing beyond the public gaze, relearning what it felt like to not exist in a perpetual state of emotional warfare. And then she allowed Diggs to walk in. The healing never arrived. What materialized instead was a Super Bowl defeat, unverified infidelity allegations, former partners seated literally in the front row, a $1 million celebration that no one attended, and a breakup that detonated before millions of spectators who had nothing better to do than watch, react, and choose sides. But if there is one single, undeniable, inarguable truth that Cardi B has demonstrated time and time and time again through every heartbreak, every scandal, every public humiliation, and every moment when the world had her counted out and written off, it is this: she does not stay down. She may stumble, she may choose wrong, she may love too fiercely and move too quickly and believe the wrong words from the wrong person, but she always, without exception, rises to her feet. She always releases the music. She always commands the stage. She always reminds every single person watching precisely why they believed in her from the beginning. And on February 11th, 2026, just 48 hours after the breakup heard around the world, while Stefon Diggs is preparing for his court appearance and Offset is posting cryptic declarations of victory from his living room, Cardi B will be standing beneath those lights in Palm Springs on opening night of her tour, performing for thousands of fans who showed up because they believe in her talent, her resilience, and her extraordinary ability to rise from anything. Because at the end of the day, the only ring that ever truly mattered, the only one that was never going to falter, never going to betray her, never going to fold, was the one waiting for her on the stage where she has always and will always belong. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click on one of the options appearing on your screen to explore more content like this.